Welcome to the Consistency Club, a monthly podcast dedicated to marketing your photography business from the creators of This Can't Be That Hard. Each month on the 15th, you'll hear an in-depth discussion about a marketing strategy that's working well in the industry right now. Looking for even more support? When you become a member of the Consistency Club, you'll unlock access to the extended version of each month's podcast, along with monthly email and social media templates and bonus access to that month's secret strategy. Sign up at go.thiscan'tbethathard.com/club to get started. Hi, Dana.
Anami, how you doing?
Oh, I'm good. I am sitting here. It's feeling cozy. I'm like busy, but sort of in a good, steady place. And yeah, I'm just like, I'm in it. I'm excited. How about you?
Back to school vibes.
I know. It really is. I do love this time of year.
Buy your new pencils and your new notebooks. I definitely still let myself go to the store and buy like something, like whether it's like a notebook or like new highlighters.
Yep.
I got these cute little new pastel highlighters this year. They're very adorable.
Ooh.
I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who are also like loved buying their back to school supplies. So
I tried to talk my 15-year-old, 14-year-old into into buying a paper school planner, because I used to live and die by those things, like the ones that were here's the page with the month, and then you'd get the week on the different individual pages. Loved my school planner. He was like, no.
That's a hard no, Mom.
Well, he was like, I mean, you can buy it and I could try and use it, but I'm sure I'm going to stop using it soon. I was like, okay, fine.
That doesn't have the Riz or whatever the kids.
Exactly. No cap, Mom. I'm not going to use it all year. Exactly. So anyway, that is me just trying to live vicariously through my children as per usual. But yeah, no, I'm doing well, and I am excited. We are welcoming a bunch of new members into the Consistency Club this year. So if you're new, or not this year, this month. So if you're new, welcome. Thank you for being here. We are excited to support you in all of your marketing stuff as you then have more time to focus on whatever is important to you, whether that's work or family or anything else. Yeah, we're excited for the opportunity and excited for what we're chatting about today, which is a very important topic this time of year.
I was going to say, and to our new members, you have these lovely little back and forths where we talk about silly things to look forward to at the top of every single month. I know people write in and are just like, my favorite part of Consistency Club is like the little moment at the top with you and Anami going back and forth. I'm like, well.
Which is funny to me because I know, I do, and I want to keep it fun and silly because marketing can be kind of like an ongoing slog. But at the same time, I'm always like, I don't want to waste anybody's time with our banter. Yeah. You can fast forward this. We won't be or
listen to us in 2x speed. That's what I do.
Always.
But yeah, let's hop into this month because I have a feeling we're going to talk a lot about this because it is an important topic. And there's also a lot to say. And I think, to your point, this is a great time. This is a fun time of year. I think for a lot of people, this is like the busy season for portrait photographers. Everybody's like, starting to think about, need to get those, holiday photos done, or like, it's just the weather's beautiful. If you live anywhere except Phoenix, Arizona, where it's still so hot. I digress. But, it's an exciting time of year, and it does have that back to school energy. And I think that's awesome. And I think a lot of people, a lot of business owners, not just photographers, go into this time of year being like, okay, like your energy is high, your hopes are high, everything is great. And then, not to be Scrooge over here, but then what happens is like the busy season does happen. And usually by December, everybody's like, oh, like so burnt out. So we wanted to take some time this year to just talk about at the beginning of busy season, sort of what we can do so that we don't get super swept up in the wave of it and then just find ourselves on the other side, like flat out on our backs, just, like gasping for air. So this is part marketing lesson and part pep talk.
Yeah. And this is coming very much from my own long history of being people pleaser, but also being kind of afraid that, historically, this has been my busy season each year. And for a long time certainly in the beginning of my business, but it stretched on way past when it should. I would be in this season and I would just be saying yes to absolutely everything that came my way people would call and, do you have time? Oh, I'd like to do our shoot next weekend. And I would look at my calendar and my weekend would be chock full. And I'd be like, sure, can you meet at this time in this location? It's like I'd wedge them in.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say to them, I'm going to wedge you in. Nobody wants to hear that. But in my own mind and in my own calendar, that's what I was doing. And I was like, it's fine. I'll get it done. I'll get it done. And inevitably, invariably, by the end of, for me, it was even sooner than, it was usually by the end of November, I was gasping for air. Yeah. It was just like, because this is not just a busy season in photography, it's a busy season in life. Yes. If you are in the US, we've got 3 major holidays, boom, boom, boom. Then, or 4, I guess, major holidays, boom, 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 if you're going to add Halloween into it.
Halloween is a major holiday on me.
It is. I know. If you've got school-age kids, it's the fall season is always kind of crazy. And then there's shopping for holiday gifts and everything else. So it is a bit of a train wreck of a time of year. and then we spread ourselves too thin. And it's anyone intellectually can look at that and say, this is a recipe for disaster. But when you're in it, when you're either accepting or turning away work, especially if you are coming off of a season that was slower and you kind of still acutely feel that well, if I don't say yes to this, what happens if it gets slow again? Anyway, it's not a good headspace to be in. And so our conversation today and our marketing strategy, as you said, is kind of both a pep talk on how to handle this, but we're going to roll that into how you turn your own internal monologue about this topic of setting boundaries into a marketing goldmine.
Bonus. Yeah.
Bonus.
So I think the main thing is for people out there who are people pleasers like we are and are just absolutely cringing at the idea of what we're not saying is when somebody calls and is hi, can you, you're no, that's not what we're suggesting. Right. I just want to put that out there. But I think but we are giving you permission to not immediately be sure, that little extra high pitch that you get in your voice when you say yes to things that you don't really want to say. So you're yeah. That's great. So you don't immediately have to say yes. You can be sure and, or yes and, do the old improv thing where you meet them where they're at and then suggest whatever your boundary or alternate to what they are suggesting. So I don't have to get into nitty gritties, but it's I would love to shoot you. Here's when I do. I don't have time at that time. Here's when I do have time. So just getting in the habit. I know for a lot of people, it's truly just a gut response is to just be yep. Sounds good. Let me just see where I can fit you in. So just giving yourself while you're listening to this right now, I just want you to think to myself, next time that somebody, I'm just going to be yep, let me take a look at my schedule and see where we can make that work. Just give yourself permission to, first of all, slow down as you're responding to people and make sure that it's fitting within your business plan and your life.
Yeah.
And then, to talk about the marketing strategy part of it, well, you guys, we, companies and businesses set boundaries for us all the time. The most obvious one is when they're running a sale. It's a 72, we probably just, 72-hour sale. If it's a holiday weekend, people, they're always, giving us little parameters around that. But they're also telling us these things are on sale, but these things aren't on sale. It's, free shipping if you get over this amount of money, right? And we just, as the consumers, we just accept those rules and we're great. It's not if you have $59.75 in your cart and free shipping starts at $60, not that this has ever happened to me. You're not going to write customer service and be well, I think that you should give me this, right? Instead, you're just all right, this is the rule. I'm going to add something that, gets me over the 60. So we are used to, what I'm saying is your clients are already in the mindset of understanding that there are rules and parameters and boundaries around businesses. So I want to give you that peace of mind too. And it actually comes across as really professional when you have things that are good, yes, and your no's really late. When you come across as really confident about that, it gives us a sense of confidence about you as a business owner versus if you are really wishy-washy about them, that also comes across. And that sometimes can backfire in as well.
And the way that we're encouraging you to avoid coming across as wishy-washy or as a pushover. I mean, I will tell you one of the most common things in my own history as a photographer, and this happens basically every year, is that I get at least a few inquiries for photographing people the weekend of Thanksgiving. So people's families come into town, grandparents are in town, aunts and uncles, and they're like, ooh, it would be great. This is a beautiful season. Everybody's in town. Let's do an extended family photo shoot. And once upon a time, I used to, extract myself from my family focused weekend and all the holiday prep and all this other stuff to go photograph other people's families because it was an opportunity to get more work. And there's nothing wrong with taking work during the holidays if that works for you. The important thing is figuring out ahead of time what your boundaries around that are and considering how you can, make that sort of a premium offer. It's sort of like expedited shipping or, anything else. If you want my time on a holiday weekend, if I decide ahead of time, like, yep, I'm willing to give that up, what's the value of that?
Yes, it's not just the same as any other weekend, I would argue.
Absolutely.
I'm laughing because I know that I literally did this. I think it was last year. I was like, oh, my family's all together. I need a photographer. Yeah. And it was a premium price. And you know what? I didn't even blink an eye because I was like, yeah, that makes sense. It totally, absolutely makes sense that, this is, first of all, last minute. Second of all, it's a holiday weekend. So, I think that's also, and when you can think about that ahead of time, again, not in the moment, I think what we're really encouraging you all to do is think about what these premium times might be. We keep saying boundaries, but it's not even that, just sort of like little rules that you might have for booking during the busy season. Think about them now, and it's going to become a lot easier for you to implement them in the moment.
Yeah. Any of my simple sales students know, because I talk about my pricing a fair amount in that course, they know that I place a premium on weekend sessions year round. So weekends are, by definition, fewer and farther between. They are also a time that obviously is easier for a lot of my clients to schedule because they're not working and their kids aren't in school and all that sort of thing. But it's the time that I get with my own kids, my own family. And so I, a while ago, implemented just a flat rate premium on my weekend sessions. And it does two things. Number one is that it helps me make more money for the work that I'm already doing. So if somebody wants to book me on the weekend, that's fine. They just pay a little bit more. But it also encourages a lot of people to think twice. Now, if I say, do you want Wednesday or Saturday? And Saturday is just a lot easier for them to coordinate. They're going to say Saturday.
Yeah.
But if I say, do you want Wednesday or Saturday? Saturday is $100 more. They're going to think twice about, well, could we make Wednesday work?
Yeah.
And if they can, and that is important to them, then I have a session on a Wednesday, which is better for me. So it's, in my estimation, that is premium pricing that doesn't have to do with the busy season, that has really improved my own sort of mental well-being around the work that I'm doing.
Yeah. And what I love about that is that, again, you're not saying no, you're offering an option. So again, I think weekends is a great example. Some people really want like a specific time of day, or they want a specific place that might get really busy, or they, I don't know. Like, I think there's probably a multitude of ways that you could think about. Just think about which of your sessions are the most popular, and then you can sort of think of why. But then again, to your point, it's like sometimes thinking outside of the box and offering that Wednesday session, well, maybe for whatever reason, it actually ends up being easier and less stressful for that family for all the reasons that you said. Their kids have things on the weekend, like they have family obligations. And so maybe you end up making their experience better. You just never know if you don't sort of think about all of these different options as different sort of tiers and opportunities.
Yeah. So the piece of this that I want to go back to, because I did already sort of mention this, is that you have to think about these things in advance. You need to put them together in your own mind. But what our templates and social media and email templates are going to help you do this month is to actually take that and position it for your clients with enough advance notice that it hopefully gets them thinking about this sort of in advance. So, for instance, if you are someone who sells products in your business and because the product labs all have their own deadlines around holiday shipping, right? Like anything else, they need the order to come in before a certain date if they're going to get things delivered before Hanukkah or Christmas or New Year. And so when you look at those dates and you say, this is the deadline date, if you give people advance notice about that, what you're doing is not only making it clear that there is this deadline, but you're planting the seed that that would be a good holiday gift. So you're kind of coming at it from two different directions. And to your point from before, it really underlines the fact that you are running a well thought out business that has policies and parameters and all that sort of stuff. And the more that you are seeding that information sort of subliminally into your audience's brains, the more they are going to respect those boundaries over time. So, if you're somebody who feels like at this stage in your business, you're getting constantly pushed around and people are asking you to break your own rules all the time, it can be tricky as a business owner. When you've got a boss who's like, these are the rules, and you're like, well, I just have to uphold the rules. Yeah. It's a little, it's easier than when you are the boss and they know that. And you know that they know that, and they're asking you to bend your rules. And you're like, well, I said no, so no.
Yeah, no.
It feels awkward.
It does. And I think the third thing that this does is maybe the most valuable in terms of what this podcast and the Consistency Club is about, is it gives you something to talk about in your marketing. It's like, right. We get, I know everybody gets tired of saying the same thing over and over again, right. But this gives you one more angle to approach talking about availability, talking about don't forget to book your session. It's just a different way to bring it up. And I think for a lot of people that in and of itself is really valuable.
Yeah. Exactly. So when you plan out these boundaries for yourself, you're going to come up with what your hard boundaries are. I will not, photograph anyone's family on Thanksgiving weekend.
Yep.
But then you might also want to consider what some soft boundaries are. Say, I'm not going to take anybody Thanksgiving weekend unless they're willing to pay an extra 20% holiday fee, or I am not going to take any sessions after December 1st unless they're willing to, pay a rush fee on their deliverables, or whatever your parameters and your, whatever you're comfortable with, that you have to put that into place, figure out what the hard no's are, and then what the yes ands are.
Yeah. And they could also, this could also be, a certain number. Maybe you're I will take 3 sessions over Thanksgiving weekend, or I take 3 sessions on a Saturday and that's it, whatever. And also then that kind of becomes a little bit of a game. You can say I only take 3 sessions a day, or in one of my templates, I talk about how there's only 1 sunset per day. So those are very limited and special, time. So get creative when you're thinking about, or just sort of brainstorm for a minute when you're thinking about all the different sort of hard and soft boundaries that you can have. And then the last thing I would add is think about which of those apply just during the busy season, and then which of those you want to bring over into your whole business. Like Anami was saying, are you now going to implement the idea of, a premium pricing on your weekends year round? Is that just now something that you want to take into account year round? And then obviously some of them, especially with the product stuff, that some of this stuff might be holiday specific.
Exactly. Perfect. All right. With that, we will switch over to our members only podcast and go through this month's templates and our secret strategy. If you are not yet a member of the Consistency Club, you can go to go.thiscan'tbethathard.com/club to join us. It is the best value in the industry as far as I'm concerned, and I think a lot of our members too, but that's where we give all the good stuff. So Dana, if you're ready, we'll switch on over.
So let's catch you on the flip side.